I do not like AI art. I don't like how AI art is basically being used in order to compete with the people who make VTubing what VTubing is. The creative field has always been undervalued and neglected, and it's like, oh no, this is not a skill that you have to learn. It's just a talent. It's like a natural gift that you're born with. What kind of stream have I stumbled into? Oh, it's going to get worse. Wait till I'm going to start talking about the AI that was generated of me. Is it at least passable? It is not. It's bad. But okay, if you remember, about a month ago, I had someone, a transphobe, make an AI slop meme of me, right? Making my character say puberty is optional and then shushing me. And it's like very submissive, and you know, I made like a video about it. There were like a lot of memes, you know, people were like redrawing it. Shout out to r/stone tossing juice. It was very fun seeing people adjust the transphobic meme, redraw it. So then afterwards there was also, you know, this one, another transphobe making a transphobic AI slop meme of my character, and I made like a video about it, right? I was talking about it. By the way, shout out to r/anti-AI for like boosting this and so on. Was kind of nice. I was like, damn, if like these sexualized connotations and whatnot are being posted by these right-wingers, you know, they're like putting me in my place. I'm kind of curious to know what they're generating, because like, you know, on my ASMR content, I got comments of someone being like, you're like a groomer and so on, and your voice isn't even attractive, so I can't even goon to your ASMR. It's like, well, you should just like stop doing it. It's like, so you're like seeking out my content in order to like goon to it? That's wild, you know, despite hating me. But no, like, nowadays I'm actually no longer curious. I officially have seen what the AI generate of me and how they with me. I remember back in the day, someone told me that I think Kirshi was making fun of me because like my model wasn't attractive enough because the boobs are, you know, too small and nobody's going to like after it, so I'm never going to be a successful VTuber. They don't want me to have boobs at all. In this world that we live in, there are only two paths for trans people, apparently. And it kind of like showcases, obviously, how transphobes think of not just me, but the entirety of like the trans community, trans women, and also cis women to a large extent. One of the choices is like, we are turning Nyara into food, right? That would be like one option, one path that I like anticipated. The other one was just like, no, it's going in the direction of like femboy type of situation. Sadly, I actually had to see that. Sadly, I actually on Saturday looked online and I went to a website that I'm not going to name, and I had to see what they're AI generating of me. I'm obviously not going to show you, but I can tell you it was a 3-part series, and the storyline is going to tell us a lot. These are some of the tags that we got on the art, and you're going to see that, you know, it's going into a very specific direction. We got Foxboy, we got Femboy, we got Male, we got obviously Nyara VT, and Collar and Leash. Like, I don't know what is obviously happening inside of the mind of someone who generates stuff like that, but it kind of has like a lot of implications, because like, hey, I lost an argument with you, I'm going to create AI revenge of you, is definitely, you know, a different coping mechanism. On another image, they have different tags. There we also got the certification tag. I don't know if it's like meant to embarrass me. I don't know if it's meant to basically like goon over it and be like, I'm going to share this with everyone. But I feel like the implications that this has is it's kind of scary, honestly, that like AI is just going to like allow you to do this to people that you don't like, and to be fair, also to people that you do like. You know, same type of like AI that they're currently doing with like Charlie Kirk and so on, which is like, it actually feels more disrespectful than like celebrating his death actually. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the storyline because I think that is good for context. The first speech bubble that we get in the first image is actually, since you insist that you're a girl and I want to support you, I have booked you a 3-day training course. The storyline is basically like, oh, you insist that you are a real woman, so suck my dick. Transphobia, misogyny, unsurprising. Yeah, exactly. So the idea is basically, like, what does this tell you about the people who are transphobic? They as trans people, they goon to these forms of like content, to these forms of like storylines and so on, and they're using AI in order to generate trans people, trans content creators in these positions, inserting probably themselves as well, having it like a self-insert. As a trans person who doesn't do work, who has been rather tame when it comes to the media, because like obviously I felt like I had to sanitize my platform a little bit, because obviously the shaming that goes on when you are doing something natural, the invalidation that comes from it, and so on. I knew that is going to make it really easy for people, for right-wingers, to like jump on and go after me to the extent where a lot of like normies wouldn't jump to the defense, even if, you know, workers are valid and actually have a better understanding of politics than a lot of conservatives and so on. You know, this humiliation and so on is kind of what they did to Anna, what they are still doing to Anna. It's just kind of wild because like I do not commission NSFW art of my model, right? The latest art that I got showing under boob is like the most loot I actually have gotten with my model. It's rather tame when it comes to like VTubers. I also got this, by the way, back then with Vivi together. Right? You're kind of in the middle zone of loot and sanitized content. Like my platform on Twitter is more sanitized than, I do have my occasional horny tweets, but it is way more tame nowadays. The idea that like someone can just go ahead and use AI to push me into these situations is kind of scary. Obviously, it shows us how they view women. If you want to be a woman, then you need to exist as a object for me. You have to be an object for men. You wouldn't be going from man to woman unless you want to be getting this sort of attention from men. It's kind of like what I expected, but actually seeing it was pretty shocking. And it also brought up a little bit of trauma for me, because you know, when I was younger, when I was 12, 13, and I was trying to figure out, why do I feel happier when I'm being perceived as a woman? Why am I happier when I'm getting called a girl? I'm not a girl, I'm a boy, but like I don't want to be a boy. I just want to be a girl. Why is that? I didn't find like proper resources in education. I found more of like these feminization the type of things, forums. And it scared me, right? Because it was like, is that what I am? Is that what I'm into? Is that like the appeal of it? Obviously that wasn't the case, but I didn't know that there was like an alternative because I didn't have the information on it. I didn't have the education on it, and it made me shut down and actually repress my own feelings, right? As they said in the gender dysphoria Bible on genderdysphoria.fyi, and am I trans? Oops. Consider that it's rarely just a, I cannot tell you how many trans people, including me, began exploring their gender feelings in the realm of fantasy. There are many different ways for this to manifest: gender play with partners, enjoying transformation-related drawings. The gender bend type of content is obviously also what I found. For me, it was like always kind of disturbing, because the idea of like turning back always terrified me, and I never understood why the boy who got turned into a girl wants to turn back. Right? I never understood that, and it actually caused me more dysphoria to like think about that. I kind of avoided these types of content as much as I could, but as a trans person, as a vocal trans person, I always get comments of people telling me that I'm like a addict and I let my become my personality and so on. And it's actually kind of traumatic, because this is like the biggest reason of why I didn't want to come out. You get what cis people off to you, and that's sad. Every time you want to check with trans people, you always hear in language and videos. Trans is mostly done for conservative men, and to have like my character inserted in these situations using AI is actually I'm pretty shocked. Like I'm still trying to like process these things. Obviously, by talking about it, by bringing attention to it, I'm probably going to make things worse, right? I'm aware of these things, right? I know what right-wingers are using AI for. I know that like these AI image generators and so on are basically carried by gooners. And when it comes to like people who are obsessed with trans people, there are a lot of people who hate trans people, and then they still seek out trans workers, right? They're still in the DMs of trans women who have like a fans account, right? I'm not shocked that this is happening. I'm just shocked that I had to see it, right? Isn't it assault to create a public figure without consent? I don't know what the legalities of it is. I did report it on the website. I was like, hey, I didn't consent to this. I hope it's going to, you know, get deleted. It's definitely pretty gross that we are like living in a world where people can just like use these tools to put public figures into these positions, right? It's also not just like public figures. Imagine, you know, you're just a random trans woman, and you have like your dating profile, and you reject the guy, and then he is going to generate like revenge of you. I wish that this aspect was being talked about more when it comes to like the anti-AI debate. Like obviously when it comes to like, you know, how it's destroying creativity, how it's draining resources, valuable resources, how it's poisoning the planet. All these things are important, but I think we have to talk about like the main utilization for AI, right? Websites like Character AI, where people are generating or like making AI models based on VTubers as well, and turning them into like horny spots, which I, you know, back then was also like, I wonder if I am someone's AI girlfriend. It's just like kind of wild how this is more like brushed under the rug. You know, obviously it has like a lot of implications when it comes to IPs, when it comes to copyright, when it comes to you know, consent to all these things, when it comes to what should be, you know, allowed. Are there gray areas? But I do not like AI art. I don't like how AI art is basically being used in order to compete with the people who make VTubing what VTubing is. As someone who does graphic design, who does logo design, I do not like that AI is quote unquote good enough for a lot of people who start like businesses. The creative field has always been undervalued and neglected, and it's like, oh no, this is not a skill that you have to learn. It's just a talent. It's like a natural gift that you're born with. A lot of like corporations, a lot of those who are just like interested in the money, they have no issues with using AI. Like there's no soul. It's not appealing. But for a lot of people, it's like, oh, this is still good goon material, undervalued, neglected, and also insanely harshly judged by people who don't want to learn a skill. Yeah, exactly. It's like, why would I pay an artist $50 to do one sketch when I could just like use ChatGPT? It's just like people do not value creativity as much. They just like take it for granted. And I believe that like critical thinking and you know, the creativity is what makes human beings and separates us from drones. I talked about this a while ago on stream, and I wanted to turn it into a video. I might still turn it into a video where I was going a little bit more into like the debate when it comes to AI, and how in a lot of fields you can't really get rid of it, right? If you do not use AI, you're going to fall behind in programming and so on. You do not have to like build something from the ground up. You can ask Copilot. Isn't AI inherently unable to make art? Isn't that because someone instead of something made it? Even if you think that AI art is art, the one who is typing the prompt is still not an artist. If I go on VGen and I'm like, oh, hey, dear artist, I want this image to be drawn. I want this piece of art. That doesn't make me the artist. I'm just someone who commissions it. And I do not believe AI art is art. It's just like generating an image based on an algorithm based on what it was trained on. It's just like taking images together, mashing it together, and then people call it like art. But there's like no purpose, no vision, no humanity, no soul is like behind it. And that's kind of like what I believe makes art art, right? That is required for something to be art. I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to like talk about where I'm standing. I do have like a channel in my Discord for art, and I got like a little sheet actually with like things that I'm okay with when it comes to fan art. And one of the biggest things is what I'm not okay with is obviously gender swapping me. And that's obviously what transphobic people, what right-wingers are doing to my character. And that kind of sucks. And I do not consent to it. And I want it to be taken down. But obviously, I only see what they are sharing online. I do not see what they're doing behind the scenes. And the idea of people generating these things of me, people doing these things to me, it makes me feel kind of icky.